We're almost done this book now. There's only 20 pages or so left. This section of the 5th chapter is called the next chapter of Bhakti and Seva, of loving devotion and selfless service. When Swamishri visited Buckingham Palace in 1992, at the invitation of the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip famously asked Pramukh Swami Maharaj if he will now go on to live at Swaminarayan Akshardham in Gandhinagar. Much to Prince Philip's surprise, Swamishri smiled and clarified, "I am always on the move. I do not have a permanent residence. This mandir, this temple, is for the community and its people." Swamishri's travels only slowed down after his health deteriorated in 2010 when he turned 90 years old, after which he spent much of his time between the village of Sarangpur and the cities of Ahmedabad and Mumbai. Swamishri's intent to serve remained as resolute as ever, even during those last 6 years. He was not attached to a specific act or its result, and therefore he had no difficulty when it was time to transition to a new stage of bhakti and seva. Swamishri's spirit did not age, but his body and mind did. This affected all the acts of bhakti and seva that were dear to him. It limited his travel, meeting bhaktas, devotees, giving discourses, and actively collaborating with sadhus and bhaktas, monks and devotees. To serve. I was wondering how that sentence ended. It limited his travels, meeting bhaktas, giving discourses, and actively collaborating with sadhus and bhaktas to serve. He never retired, he just served and worshipped differently. A transition of this magnitude takes a serious toll on people's spirits. They are afraid of losing what is dear to them. They are afraid of the unknown that is to come. Antithetically, Swamishri was at ease. His ease revealed his fearlessness. He was not afraid of moving on from active involvement in management and leadership. He was not afraid of old age or illness. He was not afraid of leaving his mortal body. His Atmanishta, his ability to abide in his self, and Sahajanand, his organic bliss, were resplendent in those last few years. He showed how loving the divine, experiencing the inner self, and embracing all can lead to a sense of ease and bliss that prepares one for the next chapter. Those last years were difficult for bhaktas, for devotees who had grown up around Swamishri. I am not talking about just a handful of those in physical proximity, but 3 entire generations of bhaktas worldwide who had grown accustomed to writing to, calling, speaking to, traveling with, and meeting Swamishri. Hundreds of thousands of bhaktas were spoiled by Swamishri's personal attention to their spiritual and social needs, the homes they should buy, the schools they should attend, whether they should move abroad, and, of course, the spiritual journey. How to eradicate anger, lust, greed, and so on. The wide spectrum of concerns that Swamishri addressed would impress a trained therapist. Swamishri's attentiveness went beyond the surface of these questions. There was a deep spiritual reason behind why Swamishri had spent so much of his time and energy for his bhaktas. Swamishri was building a bridge of love from this world to the next. When Professor Raymond Williams asked Swamishri how he could confidently respond to such a broad range of questions without regret, Swamishri, at ease, turned to the Murti, the divine image of Hari Krishna Maharaj. It is through the inspiration of God that I get advice and convey it to the bhaktas. I encourage people to have faith in God. Without faith in God, nothing is possible. Professor Williams was curious and inquired, "How does God inspire you? Is it a general sense of inspiration, or is it specific in the moment?" Swamishri spoke of his connection with the divine. It is a constant rapport with God through bhakti, through loving devotion and seva, selfless service, that provides the basis for this advice. I feel the presence of God. God is listening and answering. The answers are always there. Professor Williams probed further. "But surely you must have had second thoughts about the advice. Have you ever wished later that you had given different advice?" "No, it is never so. I am sure of the advice that I give, because I do not give it. God gives it through His inspiration. I just serve." "But how can you give advice about matters which you have no direct contact or knowledge, namely specific families and various professions and businesses?" I share this advice so that the bhaktas come closer to God. Taking interest and assisting in their daily activities and affairs brings them closer to me. It builds a bridge of love. The purpose of walking with them is not to just help them prosper in their business or avoid conflict in their lives, but it is to connect them to the divine. If they come closer to me, they will grow closer to the divine. Their faith will strengthen. My guru, Yogi Maharaj, visited hundreds of villages and homes just to build a bridge of love. His selfless love brought bhaktas, devotees, closer to the spiritual journey. Eventually, this bridge of love inspires the bhaktas to transcend attachment and desire. It inspires them to transcend the worldly quest for happiness and search for eternal happiness. I walk with them so that they can progress on the path of spiritual transcendence to moksha, liberation. My ultimate goal is to take my bhaktas past the dilemmas of the world. I want to destroy the discord and desire within and establish a concord within the divine. It is all I want for them and from them. Swamishri's response explains why the Guru loves and embraces all. It was not merely for the sake of growing the community, organization, or providing worldly comfort. It goes beyond the concerns of this life and this world. Swamishri wanted to give his bhaktas more than they had the wisdom to ask for and, in the process, fulfilled their worldly requests as well. Gurus give in ways that surpass the expectations of their disciples. Swamishri once said to me, "Never ask me for anything. I love my bhaktas more than you can imagine. I will always give you more than what you ask for." With Swamishri's health declining, he slowly started to shift his language of bhakti and seva. Though he continued to inaugurate mandirs and consecrate murtis, these are temples and divine images, inspire the community's ever-growing humanitarian activities, give darshan, and bless tens of thousands of bhaktas every day from a distance, and initiate sadhus into the monastic order, he was unable to directly communicate with his bhaktas. He knew that it was time for this bridge of love to be shifted, so that millions could receive that personal attention and care from another. On the 6th of March, 2013, in Ahmedabad, Swamishri wrote an open letter to his sadhus and bhaktas, instructing them to take their queries to Mahant Swami, his successor and current president and guru of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha. Mahant Swami would love and guide them in his place. Swamishri led his bhaktas to his ideal bhakta. In the meantime, Hundreds of thousands of bhaktas flocked to the small village of Sarangpur in Gujarat for darshan of their guru. Swamishri was in Sarangpur from the 5th of May 2013 to the 13th of August 2016, except for the 2 weeks that he was in Robbinsville, New Jersey for the mandir inauguration ceremony. The environment in Sarangpur was celestial. Every day felt like a festival. Swamishri came out of his room anywhere from 1 to 3 times a day to give darshan to those who had gathered from all over the world. A simple siren or conch shell bell would alert those on campus that Swamishri would be arriving in a few minutes. Time stood still in Sarangpur when that bell rang. Sadhus in training would run from their Sanskrit or theology classes. Bhaktas would file out of the guest houses. All eyes would turn to the courtyard, anxiously waiting for Swamichri's wheelchair to cruise into the cabin. Beyond this hour of public darshan, there was still an entire day Swamishri spent in bhakti and seva in his room. Vivek Sargar Das Swami, Narayan Charan Das Swami, Yogi Charan Das Swami, Krishna Vallabh Das Swami, Dharma Charan Das Swami, Yog Vivek Das Swami, Bhadresh Das Swami, and Anandanandan Das. Boy, that's a tough one. Anand Das Swami. The bliss of bliss, I think his name means. The bliss of bliss were some of Swamishri's personal attendants who were with him from 2012 to 2016 in Sarangpur. Actually, it's the servant of the bliss of bliss. I was fortunate enough to have a chance to speak with them throughout those years, as well as the years after Swamishri's passing away. They kept me and hundreds of thousands of others close to the Guru, even when we were physically distanced. In all that I heard from them about my Guru's ease, as he embraced the next chapter, I appreciated that Swamishri continued to be who he had always been. The interactions they shared reminded me of the Guru that hundreds of thousands like me had interacted with for the past 90 years. When one's health fails and age ripens, performance is near impossible. These interactions are testament to the fact that Swamishri was at ease and not pretending to do so. These interactions serve as the final lesson in letting go, to embrace God's will when it is time. Thank you for listening. We'll pause our reading of In Love at Ease there for now. We only have a few pages left to go.